this screencast video, I wanted to show you a few projects that I've created. I teach iOS programming. I taught iOS programming last year, and the objective is to teach the students some fundamentals of programming as well as some concepts in programming with Xcode on the Mac. So these are really simple applications that I developed for iPhone 6 back then, and the language is Objective C. So I'll start with this project I called Millions. So the idea is for them to learn to work with in a for loop, like the typical programming constructs like if then else decision making, as well as while loop or for loops, or something like that. So this the objective of this app is for them to show if they entered some principal amount and some interest rate, assuming that the interest is accumulating at a compound interest rate. So once they enter the principal and the interest, and it calculates how long it will take for them to reach a million, in how many years the amount will reach a million. So I'm just going to run this in the simulator. So if I bring up the simulator now, so I enter the amount here. So say I enter like 20,000, and I say the principal, the interest rate is like 5% or something like that. They say calculate. It says you'll be a millionaire in 81 years. So the objective is for them to learn about the programming construct mainly. And also, if I go and show you this, the view controller, so some very simple fields like text fields and a label is all that they had, and they brought in an image to be placed on the storyboard. So that was the main objective of this exercise. So the next one I'll show you is this app that I called Match Card. So this is once again the objective is in this one for them to work with arrays of values, and then it's a really silly game, but the idea is that they work with it and they learn how to link up with outlets like labels, buttons, and then based on some event they calculate some score, and then how they work with the the button in this case is actually a card. So let me show you this game how it works. So there are two cards that will be laid, two sets of cards that will be laid on the table. So this like a pool table or a green card table of some kind. So so this the left hand side card is for you, and the right hand side card is played by the phone. It's like the other opponent of the game. So it's really silly. So if I click on this, both the cards get flipped over, and whichever card has a higher value, that person gets a point. So now when I click on it again, they both flip over again, and then I click on this, and if your card matches the opponent's card, then you score 2 points. And so that's the objective of the game, and if you score less, then the opponent scores a point. So again, so the phone scores a point is what it says. So there's the reset. So the idea again here is to just illustrate how to work with a little bit of more event handling than the previous one. So when somebody touches the card flips over, and there's all this code to update the status of which card gets flipped over, which card image gets shown, and which card gets changed, and also the usage of random numbers in this. So that is the objective of this game. There are a couple of other projects that I did that were like more like starter projects. So I show them a little bit of it, and we expect them to do the rest of it, complete the rest of it. So here's one called simple table. So here's a label and a table view and a text view with some text selections. So the table view contains a few images, and the idea is I show them a few, and I expect them to add some more functionality to it. So this is like a startup project, and if I run this, you'll have to pardon the speed of my machine. It's a little bit slow. It's one of the older Macs that I worked with at the Manchester Community College. So this is while that is loading, I'm just going to show you the code. I have a table of data with whatever objects I'm going to try to load, and images, named images. I have provided them all the image files. The idea was for them to bring in more images and add those images to their project and then work with it. So what you will see is just two images, but the idea of I wanted them to do is add more images. So with just two images now, they are supposed to calculate something. So in this case, there are just two items that show up. So they select eggs benedict, and then the price of the item is also there, and then when you add the total cost is updated, and then they select full breakfast, and then they add, and the full breakfast cost, the total is updated. So once again, it's a very trivial app, but the idea is for them to play around with it and try to bring in more images via the images, place the images, and then be able to select any image, and then continue working on this kind of coding. So this is one of the projects that I did for them, and the last one is I'm just going to I called it animation test. It's a very simple animation. So if I try to run this, then you will see it's a animation of images that just move through. So start, the images get loaded and they are moved. Uh, so the idea here is for them to work with this class called the image view class. So okay, so if I go back to this animation test project, and animation test and animation view controller, so so they load all the images, and the animation view controller, you can see that there's an image view, and use then when the user clicks on the start and the stop, they those events are triggered, and the animation starts and ends. But the idea is for them to use the image view and then animate the images, change the interval of the animation duration, the number of times it gets repeated, and work with other parameters that are available in a image view for animation purposes, because all the students generally like animation, and something that happens uh, that's a little bit more dynamic than the other projects. So these are some of the sample projects that I've created for students to work with. So if you have any further questions, please email me. Thank you for watching this.